The millionaire unexpectedly falls for a black beggar woman who accepted a loveless deal. Sophia Martin was nothing like the women Gabriel Reynolds usually met at his family's fancy parties. Barefoot on the cold streets of New York, her clothes tattered, face smudged with dirt, she looked like a shadow drifting through the city noise. A nurse by day, a desperate daughter by night, grappling with a crushing secret no fortune could erase. Her mother's body was failing fast. Eaten away by a cancer doctors already said had no hope. The bills stacked sky high, a suffocating wall crushing every dream Sophia ever had. Enter Gabriel Reynolds, the silver-haired heir with icy blue eyes that held the weight of his family's deadly ultimatum: marry before his 33rd birthday or lose everything. His life was a string of cold business deals and velvet lies. His world glimmered with chandeliers, spotless marble, and whispered scandals behind silk curtains. And yet, here he was, standing before Sophia on a rainy night, the city's yellow streetlights flickering like a film noir scene no one dared to write. He offered her a deal that sounded like a cruel joke at first. Marry him for money, keep her freedom, no expectations, just a name on paper and a check to bury her mother's mounting debts. She hesitated. Her hands shook, part fear, part disbelief. But the tightness in her chest, the unbearable knot of guilt, pushed her forward. That was the night their worlds collided in a blur of rain and harsh light. The following days dragged Sophia into a kaleidoscope of glitzy events, where whispers followed her like vultures. Sharp eyes and sharper tongues narrowed as she walked into crystal ballrooms, her imperfect grace shining against a backdrop of expensive gowns and icy smiles. How did she get in here? A voice hissed near a grand piano. Another sneered behind crystal champagne flutes. A charity case playing dress-up. Sophia's heart slammed against her ribs, a raw wound beneath her ribs, screaming to break free. She barely noticed Gabriel's steady presence, the rare warmth in his gaze when no one was watching. Still, every night, her mother's fragile breathing haunted her dreams. Sophia juggled two impossible lives: the glamorous facade and the hospital's sterile halls, where hope drained slowly from her mother's eyes. She kept the caregiver's mask on tight, even as Gabriel's reserved smiles began to soften the stone walls around her heart. But just when Sophia began to believe maybe she could survive this strange new reality, a whisper turned into a roar, a scandal erupting like wildfire. Someone leaked their secret, threatening to shatter the fragile peace. The city buzzed with rumors: a mercenary wife, a mismatched couple desperate and doomed, a game about to implode. Sophia's pulse raced, every scar and fear surfacing like a tide. Could she trust Gabriel? Could there be something real hiding beneath their fragile, loveless deal? Or was this just the beginning of a painful fall? She stared out at the city skyline, lights shimmering like distant stars. The weight of secrets pressed down, but a small spark of hope flickered somewhere deep inside. What if love wasn't a sacrifice, but a choice? Only time would tell. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. A lot of subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without warning. Just take a quick look at that red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any of the exclusive content coming your way. And while you're here, hit that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Sophia stared at the shimmering city skyline, the weight of uncertainty pressing on her chest. The evening's events swirled in a chaotic dance around her mind. Whispers, glances, the rustle of expensive gowns, and glint of champagne flutes. Just as she began to sift through the chaos, a deep rumble interrupted her thoughts, a sound that didn't belong to the bustling street below. Boom! A thunderous explosion shook the air, shattering the fragile peace. She gasped, heart racing. People screamed. Panicked bodies surged toward the exits. Instinct kicked in, and Gabriel grabbed her hand, pulling her close. "Stay with me." His voice, usually calm and cool, held an edge of urgency that sent chills racing up her spine. They pushed through the crowd, the world spinning around them. Shattered glass crunched underfoot, reflections of luxurious chandeliers flickering with danger. "What happened?" Sophia shouted, anxiety creeping into her voice. Gabriel looked over his shoulder, icy blue eyes blazing with concern. "I don't know, but we need to get out." Just as they reached an exit, a figure emerged from the smoke, a woman, her face hidden beneath a tattered scarf. Sophia froze, the air heavy with dread. You're Sophia, aren't you?" The stranger's voice trembled, each word slicing through the chaos. "Yes, who are you?" Sophia's own voice quaked as she tried to focus. The woman stepped closer, revealing beneath the scarf a familiar face, bruised by struggle and pain. "I'm Lily," she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Your sister." The declaration crashed over Sophia like a tidal wave. No, it can't be. Her heart felt like it was in free fall. Lily had disappeared years ago, swallowed by the shadows of their past. "You're not supposed to be here." The world around her blurred, the panic of the crowd fading to a distant hum. "You left. I had no choice. I had to survive." Lily's eyes darted between the chaos and Sophia's shocked expression. "Mom, she needs help. I came to find you." Each confession was like a dagger, deeper and more painful. Sophia's mind raced. All those nights spent waiting, hoping. All those unanswered questions, now whispered in the air like ghosts. "I can't believe this," she breathed, the aching knot in her chest tightening. "You shouldn't have come back." "I'm here now." Panic filled Lily's voice. "Please, you have to trust me. It's about Mom. There's more you don't know." Before Sophia could respond, another deafening crash echoed. The city shook again. People ran past, faces twisted, in terror. In the distance, sirens wailed. Gabriel tightened his grip on Sophia's hand, but her focus was on Lily, the sister she thought was lost forever, tangled within a shroud of secrets and lies. "I need to understand, Lily. What do you mean about Mom? What else is going on?" She could feel the air grow thick with tension, every second stretching into eternity. Just then, the promise of freedom slipped away as they were engulfed by the frenzied crowd, emotions swirling, tempers flaring. It was chaos all around them, danger like a curtain hanging over the truth. Could she trust her sister? Was this just part of a cruel twist of fate? The night was spiraling further into darkness, secrets threatening to expose themselves at the worst possible moment. And as Sophia navigated through the storm, one burning question lingered. What else had Lily hidden in the shadows? Sophia stood there, her mind racing as she tried to make sense of Lily's sudden appearance. The world buzzed in chaos around them, but all she could focus on was the sister she never thought she'd see again. "We can't talk here," she urged, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm. "We need to get outside." The crowd pushed them further into the building, the exit now obscured by panic. Gabriel kept close, his grip firm, eyes scanning for danger. "We need to move," he shouted over the din. But Sophia's heart was caught in a vice. "Wait," she pleaded with Lily, who was visibly trembling. "What do you mean about Mom? What else don't I know?" Lily's expression transformed from fear to sorrow, then determination. "I came to you because she's sick. But that's not the worst part. There's something else, Sophia. Something you don't understand about her and us." Before she could respond, an ear-splitting crash echoed once more, sending shards of panic racing through the crowd. A cloud of dust and debris rose, blocking their view. Gabriel raised an arm defensively, pulling Sophia and Lily closer. "Stay down," he shouted. The chaos swirled around them, but Sophia could only fixate on her sister's haunted eyes. "What do you mean?" she pressed, urgency filling her voice. "What else could there be?" The crowd surged again, and Sophia stumbled backward, finding herself pressed against a wall. Suddenly, a familiar voice broke through the turmoil. "Sophia!" Her heart dropped. It was her mother's voice, raw and filled with pain. "Mom?" She turned, disbelief flooding her with a dizzying rush. How could her mother be here? Mom? Through the haze, Sophia spotted her mother, frail and pale, emerging through the smoke and chaos. The crowd parted like the Red Sea, eyes wide with shock. "Sophia, help me!" Her mother's voice was desperate. Instinct kicked in. Sophia pushed away from Lily and dashed forward, heart racing. But before she could reach her, another figure rushed to her mother's side. A tall man, dark-haired, eyes fierce with intensity. "No," he shouted. "Get back!" Sophia faltered, confusion whipping through her. "Who are you?" she cried, but all she felt was panic clawing at her throat. He turned to her mother, desperation etched across his face. "We need to go now. No more time." Sophia felt the ground shift beneath her. "Mom, what's happening? Who is he?" But her mother looked between Sophia and the man, tears streaming as she whispered, "You have to trust him. Don't let him take you away, Sophia." "Take me away?" Sophia turned to Gabriel, who was equally baffled. The world narrowed to just her mother, the man, and the terrifying weight of uncertainty. What is going on? Then the truth hit like a freight train. A secret so devastating it rippled through the very foundations of her world. "He's your father," her mother gasped, her breath ragged and shaky. "He's been looking for you, for both of you." Sophia felt the ground drop from under her. Her father, the man she never knew could possibly walk among them, wrapped in shadows and secrets. All those years of feeling lost, and suddenly there he was, wrapped in the chaos of the night. "Your father," Lily breathed, understanding dawning at the same time. It can't be. But it was. The realization, hung heavy in the air. Questions raged within her like a wildfire. Trust? Betrayal? What did this all mean? Before Sophia could process, the ground shook once more. Another explosion, but this time closer. Dust rained down, and screams pierced the night as panic surged. The lights flickered, and the air grew thick with danger. Gabriel's expression hardened. "We have to get out, now." He grabbed Sophia's arm, pulling her toward the emergency exit. But her eyes were glued to the man who claimed to be her father. The decision weighed like a heavy stone in her gut. Could she leave her mother? Could she trust this stranger who had just dropped the weight of the world on her shoulders? "Go!" her mother shouted, desperation sharpening her voice. And with that final push, Sophia's heart raced, torn between the past and the unknown. Outside, the night loomed dark, promises of danger and uncertainty swirling with every heartbeat. Could she turn her back on everything she thought she knew? Was this truly the beginning or the end? Sophia's heart thundered like a drum in her chest as she stood frozen. The chaos around her was unreal. Explosions, screams, her mother pleading, and this man declaring he was her father. "We have to go," Gabriel urged, tightening his grip on her arm. But she couldn't just leave. Her eyes locked onto her mother, frail and pale, fear stark on her face. "Mom, what's happening?" Her mother opened her mouth to respond, but the words never came. Instead, another shockwave burst through the room, an explosion so loud it felt like the ground itself split open. Glass shattered overhead, raining down like deadly snowflakes. The crowd surged and Sophia felt the wall of bodies push against her. "Gabriel!" she screamed as they were separated for a brief moment in the panic. He shouted her name, his voice drowned out by the chaos. But this moment, this chaos, slipped into a blurry haze as Sophia's world spun on its axis. She turned to her mother, desperate for answers. Lily, still wide-eyed with shock, managed to grab her arm. "We have to. Stick together." But just then, out of the smoke, the man who said he was her father stepped forward, his face determined, eyes locked on Sophia. "You don't understand. Your mother is in danger from more than just the explosions. You need to trust me." "Trust you?" She couldn't believe his audacity. "You just show up with bombs falling from the sky and expect me to trust you? I'm not your enemy, but if we don't leave now, there won't be a choice." His voice crackled with urgency. The moment stretched thin, and Sophia's mind raced. What did he know? What did she not? Suddenly, another explosion rocked the building, and in that split second, the identity of the man before her shifted. "You and Lily, you're part of something bigger than yourselves, something dangerous." He advanced towards her, a plea in his voice. "I can explain everything if we just get out." "Enough!" Her mother's voice broke through the noise, filled with mama bear power. "Sophia, you go with him." "No!" Sophia cried, and in that moment, rage ignited in her chest. "How can you say that? I don't even know who he is." Lily, shaking with fear, whispered, "We need to go, Sophia. If he's truly our father, there's so much he can tell us." But that was it. Her world churning, ideas colliding. Why now? Why after all these years? The man stepped back, eyes narrowing. "Because I was protecting you. And your mother, she knew. It's why she kept me away." A hush unfolded around them, the panic dimming just long enough for realization to set in. "What do you mean my mother knew?" "About you, Sophia. About who you really are." he said, voice grave. "You're not just some girl from the street. You come from a lineage that could change everything." Before her mind absorbed the weight of his words, her mother gasped, her eyes wide. "No, we can't!" Just then, another explosion erupted closer this time, sending shockwaves that sent everyone tumbling. The floor beneath their feet buckled as Sophia lost her balance. But as she fell, Gabriel lunged, catching her just in time. Yet what caught her eye was her mother, gasping, clutching her chest, eyes flickering. "Mom!" she cried, pushing away from Gabriel's grip. "No!" The world faded around them as panic surged anew. But as she rushed to her mother's side, one chilling truth slipped past the chaos. The air shimmered with shadows, and both Lily and Gabriel shared a look of horror as their mother collapsed. "What's wrong?" Lily shouted, voice almost lost amid the chaos. Then her mother, gasping, murmured, "Everything, it's all connected. You—" But before she could finish, the ground split open in another explosion, tearing through the floor and creating a chasm that swallowed the light. Darkness engulfed them, screams echoing into silence. And in that moment, Sophia knew the world had shifted forever. As she fell into the void, the last thing she heard was the chilling silence of the truth waiting to be revealed. And questions flooded through her mind. Who was she really? Why did her mother hide so much? What would happen if they emerged from this shattered darkness? The world slipped away as darkness enveloped them. A void filled with fear and confusion. Sophia felt the rush of panic as the truth of her mother's words faded into the chaos. The ground beneath her shook with violence, and she reached out, grasping for something, anything to hold on to. Then, suddenly, as if the universe turned on its axis, a blinding light erupted through the darkness. It sliced through the smoke and dust like a knife, illuminating faces twisted in terror and confusion. She squinted, blinded, but the moment she could see again, something shifted in the air. Her mother was on the ground, gasping for breath. But as Sophia's eyes darted back to the man who claimed to be her father, he was changing. His features warped, skin pulling taut against bones, and the look of desperation turned to malice. "You've no idea what you've done," he howled, voice echoing through the cacophony of terror. Sophia felt a chill ripple through her. "What are you talking about?" She looked at Gabriel, who was just as lost, his blue eyes wide with confusion. Before she could grasp what was happening, the blinding light intensified. It flickered, then illuminated the chaos with eerie clarity. A low growl rumbled from deep within the shadows. "Dad?" Sophia questioned, her voice trembling as she tried to get through to the man she thought she knew. But he was no longer the worried father. He transformed before her eyes. He straightened, shoulders broadening as dark energy pulsed around him. "You were never supposed to find out. Not like this." Sophia's heart raced. "Find out what?" But truth crashed around her like waves, pushing her deeper into confusion. Then she caught movement at the edges of the light, a figure emerging, cloaked in shadows. It pivoted, revealing a familiar face, a woman with the same eyes as her mother, filled with unending sorrow. "Sophia, it's time to go." "Who are you?" Sophia gasped, recognition sparking as she realized. It was the woman who had run from them all those years. Your real mother, she replied, voice trembling. I had to stay away. You're in danger. The world shattered around her with that single sentence. What? No, that's not possible. Her mother, lying on the ground, raised her head slightly, eyes wide. Stay away from her, the dark figure hissed, energy crackling in the air. She'll lead you to ruin. Ruin? Sophia echoed, sick dread curling within her. But you're No, I'm better than her, he snarled, and with a violent motion, he flicked his wrist. A shockwave erupted, sending bodies sprawling. Sophia felt the ground tremble beneath her, a deep roar vibrating through her bones. You've awakened something you can't control, her real mother shouted, eyes pleading. And if you don't leave now, it will consume you. The moment hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty. Shadows danced in the light's glow, walls shaking, the building threatening to collapse around them. Then a blinding flash, and everything collapsed into darkness. It all fell away, and Sophia found herself alone, a whisper in the void. Choose wisely, Sophia. The legacy of your blood runs deeper than you. No. But before she could contemplate the weight of those words, she awoke, the soft light of dawn filtering through a window. She was in a hospital. Her heart raced. Gabriel was there, but his expression was different, haunted. The whispers of her mother echoed through her mind, consuming everything she thought she knew. Where am I? She gasped, confusion spiraling within. Gabriel's blue eyes were stormy, filled with concern layered in unspoken fear. You're safe. For now, he said softly, but uncertainty rippled through his voice. But we need to talk about what happened. There's so much more, and you're not just Sophia anymore. The weight of his words crushed down, questions swarming around her heart. She took a deep breath, not knowing what lay ahead. What happened? But as she stared into his eyes, the truth flickered like a dying flame. Was she truly safe? And who was she becoming? The morning light felt distant, and Sophia knew one thing. The real nightmare was just beginning. Sophia's heart raced as Gabriel's words lingered in the air. She felt a storm of questions whipping through her mind, but the intensity of the moment pressed against her, forcing her to focus. The hospital room was sterile, bright lights harsh against the soft vulnerability of dawn. Gabriel, what do you mean I'm not just Sophia? She stammered, trying to reclaim the faint control she once held. His gaze met hers, stormy and serious. There's something you need to remember, something that was buried deep. He leaned closer, the tension coiling around them like a taut wire. About your family and your past. Suddenly, a distant wail pierced the air, an ambulance siren drawing near. Just then, the door burst open, and a flurry of medical staff rushed in, their faces tense, eyes darting with urgency. We need to check her vitals. Move! Sophia's breath quickened as she watched them rush toward her mother, who lay voiceless. The panic that had gripped her heart sharpened as she tried to push through the team of doctors. What's wrong with her? Mom, can you hear me? But her mother remained still, her chest rising and falling erratically. The doctor's hushed whispers filled the room, each word like a knife tearing deeper. We may need to intubate. Gabriel held her tightly, anchoring her against the surge of fear. Sophia, stay with me. Focus on me. His voice cut through the chaos like a lifeline. As she looked into his eyes, reality flickered. Was hope slipping away, or glimmering just out of reach? She wanted to believe in the possibility of pulling her family together. "What do you know?" she finally asked, desperation threading through her words. "About my father? About everything?" But before he could respond, a loud crash echoed from the hall, shaking the walls. The door swung open again, and in stepped an armed figure, military boots heavy on the floor, tactical gear making him a fortress. The room went silent, as if the world held its breath. "Nobody move," he ordered, voice gravelly. Gasps erupted as the staff scrambled for cover. "What's going on?" Sophia shouted, mind racing. Her heart sank. Had the night's chaos followed her here? The soldier stepped into the light, eyes narrowed, gaze walked onto Gabriel. "You're not supposed to be here. Time is up." "Who are you?" Sophia's voice trembled. "Somebody who knows the truth," the soldier replied, pointing a finger. "You have to come with me, now." "Go?" Gabriel's voice dripped disbelief. "You expect us to just leave?" "Your mother is in danger," the soldier snapped, eyes shifting to her mother's lifeless form. "They're after her. After you." "What do you mean?" Sophia's voice quaked, fear clawing up her throat. "Who's after us?" A flicker of recognition flashed across Gabriel's face. "No, it can't be. They don't know yet." "What are you talking about?" Sophia felt her world begin to spin. Before she could catch her breath, the soldier advanced further into the room. "We don't have time. You're a target, Sophia. They want you dead." A chill wrapped around her heart as clarity hit hard. "Who is they? Why? I'm just me." "They want your lineage. They know your past, and if they find you..." He let the words hang like a dark cloud. Sophia's heartbeat echoed in her ears. She looked at Gabriel, his expression lost between fear and determination. But just then, a shudder ran through her. Why was this happening? Why now? "Are you saying my family, it's worth something?" she whispered, each word heavy with disbelief. "No, it's not just your family. It's about you, Sophia. You are more than you think." And suddenly, the room felt electric. The walls seemed to pulse, shadows growing longer. Sophia's chest tightened, and her head spun. She realized in that moment every secret she'd held, every whisper of doubt floated closer to the truth, yet further into the unknown. Something shattered inside her, a weight lifting, while fear solidified like ice in her veins. "I need answers." But the world exploded in noise, the earlier quiet collapsing as chaos erupted once again. A new explosion, sharper and closer. The lights flickered violently before going dark, plunging them into utter blackness. In that suffocating darkness, a voice rasped near her ear. "Sophia, only you can save us now." As the lights flickered back to life, she turned to find Gabriel, but he was gone, vanished. The soldier stood in place, a grim expression locked onto her. The realization swept over her like a tidal wave. She was truly alone. What could she do now? As the chaos spread outside, questions hung heavy in the air, twisting into knots of uncertainty. What had she really inherited? And more terrifyingly, what darkness was about to be unleashed? Sophia stood frozen, her breathing rapid. The soldier's voice cut through the chaos, but the hospital room felt distant. Shadows crept in as fear tangled around her. Gabriel was gone, and the silence where he had stood echoed louder than the panic around her. "Listen to me," the soldier urged, stepping closer, eyes flickering with urgency. "They're coming for you. You have to trust me." His voice trembled, carrying the weight of unspoken fears. "What do you mean they're coming?" Sophia's voice cracked, desperation pouring through her. "Who are you?" But before he could respond, the fluorescent lights flickered violently overhead. Suddenly, the door burst open again. A group of men in black suits stormed in, faces taut, eyes scanning like hawks. "Get down," one shouted, pulling out a weapon, and chaos erupted anew. Sophia's heart raced as the scene spiraled out of control. The medical staff ducked for cover, and her mother lay helpless on the floor. "Mom!" she screamed, but the world felt like it was collapsing in on itself. In one swift motion, the soldier lunged at one of the suited men. "Get away from her!" A struggle erupted. Chairs tipped over, and the soft beeping of machines turned into a frantic symphony of alarms. "Move!" the soldier shouted, eyes darting to Sophia, pleading. "We can't! Stay here!" Panic coursed through her. Where was Gabriel? Was he safe? Was anyone safe? The soldiers began to move closer. "You have no idea what you're involved in," one of them spat. And in that moment, everything shifted. A loud bang echoed, and the soldier who had been protecting her fell to the ground, a look of shock on his face. "No!" Sophia cried, pounding the walls of her heart as she rushed forward. But her feet felt heavy, roots growing into the floor as the breath caught in her throat. "Stop it!" Just as the weight of despair pressed down, something shattered, an object flying through the air. Time slowed as she turned to see a small flash, the glint of metal slicing through the dust. It struck one of the soldiers, and suddenly chaos erupted like fireworks in the night. "Get out!" the soldier gasped, urgency pouring from him as he pushed Sophia away. "You don't belong here. Run!" But run where? Her mind whirled. Gabriel was out there, somewhere. She just needed to find him. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she caught movement. A streak of something unfamiliar darting past the door. In an instant, the world spiraled, transforming into a whirlwind of noise and confusion. When she turned back, she was met with a piercing gaze. A figure in a dark coat stood at the entrance, shadows cloaking their face. "You've come home, Sophia." The voice was smooth, striking a chord somewhere deep in her. "Who are you?" Sophia barely managed to breathe, feeling a shiver creep up her spine. "I'm your legacy," the figure replied, stepping into the half-light, revealing a pale face. One she recognized too well, a face she thought had vanished from her life. "I'm here for you." It was her sister, the sister she lost years ago, the sister whose disappearance had haunted her nights. "Lily?" she gasped, barely able to comprehend the shocking reality. But before she could process this unexpected reunion, the room shook with a blast, and the walls trembled. "We have to go, now!" Lily yelled. Urgency filled her voice. Then, in an unexpected turn, the lights flickered again, this time plunging them into darkness. The sound of alarms blared, blending with the chaos of the suited men shouting. An overwhelming sense of dread suffocated Sophia. "Lily, what do you mean, your legacy?" she shouted over the noise, hatred boiling in her chest. "What's happening?" "I'll explain everything. Just trust me," Lily screamed back, fear etching lines on her face. "But first, we must escape this place." "You're in danger more than you know." Sophia's world felt like it was unraveling. Everything she thought was true began to fray at the edges. She had so many questions, but now wasn't the time. She took a step back, pulling away as screams echoed and shadows lurked. "Come on!" Lily gripped her hand, urgency coursing through her. Just as they took a step, another explosion erupted. The air filled with debris, noise, and terror. But through it all, Sophia caught a glimpse of Gabriel, emerging from the smoke, his eyes wide and filled with a determination that stole her breath. "Don't leave without me!" he shouted, fighting against the tide of chaos approaching them. But just then, everything shifted again. In a split second, the ground shook and suddenly felt dizzying. The walls collapsed in on each other. The world around Sophia seemed to blur into nothing as a heavy weight pressed down on her. The truth thudded in her heart. She was losing control. Everything crashed down, and just before she lost consciousness, she caught sight of Lily, her expression unmoving and grim. As darkness consumed her, one question lingered in her mind. Who could she really trust? Sophia felt her breath catch as darkness closed in. Everything around her spun, the noise fading to a distant hum. She fought for control, for clarity, but her mind was a fog. Just before everything slipped away, she saw Gabriel's desperate face one last time, and then nothing. When Sophia regained consciousness, the world slowly came into focus. Hospital lights flickered overhead, bright and sterile. She blinked against the light, trying to shake the remnants of disorientation. Her heart pounded as she scanned the room. The chaos felt miles away, yet a palpable tension lurked in the air. "Lily?" she called, voice hoarse. "Gabriel?" Panic washed over her. Where were they? The hospital room was empty except for her. Suddenly, the door creaked open. A figure entered, silhouetted against the harsh light. She squinted, trying to recognize the person. "Who?" "Shh!" The figure stepped into the light, and her heart raced. It was her mother, but something wasn't right. Her mother looked changed, hollowed out, shadows under her eyes. "We don't have much time," she whispered, urgency lacing her tone. "Mom?" Sophia's heart twisted. "What's happening? Where's Lily? Where's Gabriel?" Her mother's gaze darkened. "They're in danger. You need to listen to me." "But you," Sophia started, but her mother interrupted, a hand raised in warning. "They're after you, Sophia. I never wanted you dragged into this mess." "What mess?" Sophia felt her chest tighten. What did her mother mean? A loud thud erupted outside the room, followed by shouting. "They're here!" her mother hissed, panic evident. She moved closer, grabbing Sophia's shoulders tightly. "You have to trust me. You are not who you think you are." Sophia's heart dropped. "What are you saying? Your real blood? It's not just them. It's bigger than you can imagine." Her mother stepped back, her eyes wild. Before Sophia could respond, the door swung open with a crash. Armed men stormed in, eyes cold and determined. "Get down!" one of them barked. The urgency snapping through the air ignited panic in Sophia's veins. "Mom!" She turned just in time to see her mother take a step toward the guards, eyes blazing with defiance. "Don't hurt my daughter!" she shouted, lunging forward. "Mom, no!" Sophia screamed as the men grabbed her mother, pulling her away with force. In an instant, The calm of the hospital shattered. Cries filled the air, and Sophia felt the floor tilt beneath her. "No!" she shouted, rushing toward them. But just as her hands reached for her mother, a blinding flash erupted, enveloping the room in pure white light. When the glow faded, she blinked in confusion. But her mother was no longer there. Instead, the figure stood before her, cloaked in shadows, a face twisted into a monstrous grin. "I'm so glad to see you again, Sophia," it hissed, voice dripping with malice. The room shook, walls vibrating with raw energy. This wasn't her mother. The change was impossible, yet clear. "Who are you?" Sophia's voice trembled. "I'm your true legacy, the power in your blood." Everything crashed down around her, every revelation spiraling. The realization clawed at her mind. No, this can't be real. But it is. Shadows flickered out like smoke. "You'll see soon enough." Panic and confusion sliced through her like shards of glass. Could the man she thought she knew not be who he was? A cold dread washed over her. This was the twist she never expected. Before she could scream, a deafening roar shook the building. The lights flickered, alarms blared. Everything spiraled out of control, and she couldn't escape the sheer terror gripping her heart. As silhouettes darted through the chaos, one thought gnawed at her. Could everything she believed about her family, their secrets, their ties, be just a web of lies? The truth weighed heavier than stone. Each revelation, a step into shadows she never thought existed. And then the room went dark again, leaving her in suspense. What reality awaited her? What awaited her family? Only time would reveal the harrowing truth. Sophia's heart thundered in her chest, and her breath caught as darkness swallowed everything. Her mind raced with questions, trapped in a whirlwind of chaos and fear. In a split second, everything changed. Just when she thought she was lost in shadow, the lights flickered back to life, revealing the chaos frozen in time around her. The creature, if it could even be called that, towered before her, a grotesque mockery of humanity, eyes filled with hunger. Yet, floating in its shadow was something dark, something familiar. The air around her vibrated, thick with tension. "Wake up, Sophia," it hissed, voice reverberating like thunder. "It's time to embrace who you really are." Then came a loud crash, drowning her thoughts. The walls trembled again, as another explosion rocked the hospital, sending vibrations that rattled the very bones of the building. Just as she braced herself, a figure burst through the door. Gabriel! He rushed in, panic etched on his features. "Get away from her!" he shouted, fear igniting a protective fire inside him. "Gabriel, wait!" Sophia screamed, but her voice was lost amidst the onslaught of sound. "Leave her alone!" Gabriel lunged forward, ready to engage, but the grotesque figure laughed, a chilling sound that sent shivers down Sophia's spine. The creature stepped back, smirking with its twisted grin. Then, in a moment that defied all logic, it reached a hand toward Sophia. In that instant, the connection twisted like a blade through the air, bursting with energy. Sophia felt a sharp pain pierce her mind. A vision flooded through her. In an echoing flash, she was thrown into memories not her own. Life in shadows, a figure watching from the corners, a woman in turmoil. and the truth struck harder than any blow. This was no mere coincidence, no simple battle for survival. This was her family legacy, a lineage soaked in danger and darkness. "Stop!" she cried, clutching her head in agony. "What are you doing to me?" "Revealing the truth," the figure replied cryptically, amusement dripping from its voice. "You are far more than you realize, a vessel for what lies beneath." Just as Sophia wrestled with the weight of that knowledge, another surge of energy enveloped the room. In that wild explosion of light, she saw flashes of faces. Her mother's, Lily's, Gabriel's, all entwined in a dance of fate. But it was the next image that shattered everything. A bloodied hand, reaching for her. The moment flashed in a heartbeat, a dark silhouette jabbing a knife before vanishing in an instant. It felt like a knife to her gut. "Gabriel, you," she started, but the truth hit her like ice water. "No, you can't be. You didn't. I thought we could trust you." Her voice cracked as the revelation pulsed through her veins. "No, Sophia, it's not what you think." Gabriel's voice rose, panic flashing in his eyes. But the weight of betrayal hung heavy between them. Then the figure laughed again, deep and triumphant. "See how easy it is? You're all connected by blood and betrayal. This is just the beginning." As glass shattered and alarms blared, Sophia's mind raced with questions and doubts. Gabriel was the last thread holding her to hope. But what if he was part of the darkness? What had she really stumbled into? The room trembled once more. Chaos swirling as the grotesque figure lurked at the edge. "You have to decide, Sophia. Do you stay and fight for the truth, or run from the darkness? The choice is yours." And just as she felt everything crashing down, the floor cracking, and the air growing thick, Gabriel's hand slipped from hers. A profound silence enveloped them. The truth hung heavy, pulsating like a heartbeat. Who could she trust? In that nebulous moment, she felt the essence of her reality shifting beneath her, and a terrifying doubt crept in. Was the darkness a part of her? Before she could voice another thought, a blinding light erupted one last time, swallowing them whole. Everything was lost in the brilliance, leaving nothing but doubt and uncertainty in its wake. What awaited them on the other side? Sophia gasped as the brilliant light faded away, leaving her back in the fractured hospital room. The chaos around her felt suspended in a strange silence, almost like the calm before a storm. She blinked, thoughts racing, trying to grasp what had just happened. Where was Gabriel? Where was Lily? Suddenly, the grotesque figure loomed closer, its presence casting a long shadow over her heart. "You've come into your own, haven't you?" it taunted, twisting its features into a smile that sent a chill down her spine. "Enough!" Sophia shouted, summoning anger. In that moment, something inside her snapped. A power surged through her, a feeling she never knew she possessed. Walls shook, and rage ignited like wildfire. "You won't take anything from me!" The figure paused, a hint of confusion registering in those dark eyes. "What are you?" But before it could react, a flash of energy erupted from Sophia, a shockwave that sent the entity stumbling backward. She didn't know where the force came from, but right now, she didn't care. The chaos ignited a primal strength within her, a strength anchored in her bloodline. "Gabriel!" she yelled, hoping against hope he could hear her. "I need you!" And then, As if summoned by her sheer will, Gabriel burst through the doorway, his expression fierce, determination spilling out in waves. "Sophia, I knew you'd find a way. Help me," she cried, extending her hand toward him. He rushed to her side, and when their fingers intertwined, a surge of warmth flowed between them. It was as if the connection ignited a shield against the horrors closing in. "We need to face it together," Gabriel said, eyes blazing with conviction. "We will break this cycle." Sophia nodded, heart racing. In that moment, the grotesque figure glared at them, something akin to fear flickering in its eyes. "You think you can defy destiny? You're nothing without your past." "Maybe," Sophia replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "But I choose my future." With a calmness that shocked even herself, she raised her hand. Light emanated from her fingertips, creating a powerful barrier that cloaked Gabriel and her. The figure recoiled, shadow fluttering like flames licking at the wind. "This isn't over," it barked, before disappearing into the shadows, leaving the room in somber silence once more. Sophia felt herself tremble, adrenaline fading quickly, leaving an aching fatigue. "Did we win?" Gabriel nodded, breathing hard. "For now, but they'll come back, and we need answers about what's next." As they shared a moment of quiet understanding, footsteps echoed outside the door. "Get ready," Gabriel whispered, and Sophia held her breath. The door swung open, and there stood Lily, bruised but alive. Behind her, a batch of paramedics. "I found help," she exclaimed, a breath of relief spilling from her lips. Relief washed over Sophia like a cool breeze. "Lily!" They rushed into each other's arms, and in that embrace, a wave of hope surged. Everything felt like it was shifting, as if they had forged something unbreakable. But just then, Sophia's mother appeared in the doorway, alive and fierce, looking more like her old self than ever. "We need to leave," she said, urgency in her tone. "This place isn't safe." Hope and excitement twisted in Sophia's chest, but a voice sparked within. "Mom, I have questions. All the secrets." "Soon," her mother assured, holding a hand up. "But first, let's get you somewhere safe." As they made their way through the halls of the hospital, Sophia couldn't help but feel the weight of the They stepped into the light. Sophia felt something shift in the air. It would take courage and strength, but they would face it together. This chapter may be closing, but the adventure continues. Hey, before you go, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories that will blow your mind. Smash that like button now. It really helps the algorithm bring this story to more amazing people. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this finale. We want to hear from you. Finally, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this thrilling ending. Don't wait even one more second. Show your support now.